Let me give you another example here of Sergio Dip-ism. Young people and how they're being educated, what happens when they become adults and enter professions implementing the stuff they have been taught. Headline details coming. M&Ms are going to promote wind power in a new TV ad campaign. M&Ms promoting wind power. Hang on. Be right back. Now, this stuff, I have been concerned. I love America. I want it to continue to be the greatest place on earth. I want everybody in this country to be able to maximize the opportunity that liberty and freedom give them. And it's liberty and freedom that are under assault by these people that are demanding conformity in speech, in behavior, demanding conformity and acceptance. And we see it manifesting itself. I don't know how Sergio is. He's probably in his 20s, maybe early 30s. But he's part of the millennial generation, and then the iGen is what follows them. And they're going to grow. They're going to get educated. They're being told. They're being educated. It's being drilled into them that America is destroying the planet, that American corporations are destroying the planet, that fossil fuels are destroying the planet, when in truth, oil and other fossil fuels is the reason for the rising standard of living, for the creation of wealth, for the opportunity that people in this country have and around the world. It's the climate change left that is keeping people poor. Let's take an imaginary African country. Let's call it San Cordoba. And San Cordoba has a per capita income of $14 a week. And their people that live there are in absolute poverty, and their government is a tyranny. They've got some general that's the president and the commandante or whatever, and people just have nothing. But somebody discovers oil. Somebody discovers a big pool of oil underneath San Cordoba. What does Greenpeace do? What does Al Gore do? What environmental wackos? They come in there and they forbid them from getting it. Because getting it will pollute, getting it will destroy, it will upset the eco balance in the ocean off the coast of San Cordoba. And so the means of a rising standard of living in a country coming out of poverty will be unavailable to them, because powerful forces, the UN will be in there demanding at San Cordoba do not, because they're trying to phase out fossil fuels. Have you seen all these automobile manufacturers now promising? Who was it that Aston Martin said by 2030 or 2040 they won't have any more internal combustion engine cars, and that caused an avalanche of other companies announcing the same thing. In the first, it's asinine. It's simply asinine, and they're believing a market for these things exists that doesn't. If people that bought Teslas and Priuses weren't subsidized to buy them, do you think they'd be selling the way they are? If the government wasn't subsidizing Tesla to the tune of $5 billion, do you think they would be making as many as they are? Market may be there for them someday, but the market isn't there. It's being forced on us under the belief that the internal combustion engine is destroying the climate and thus destroying the world. And that leads to Stephen Hawking and these other clowns like, we got to abandon Earth if we're going to survive. We got to colonize an asteroid or Mars, folks. We aren't close to even going back to the moon, much less going to Mars and colonize. We're not even close to this. But kids are being educated with this. It's being inculcated, it's being forced into them, and they all believe this stuff. And it's going to have an impact as they grow older. I mean, some of the things they're being taught actually is near criminal. The internal combustion engine and the discovery and market uses of petroleum products, the free flow of oil at market prices, has been the difference maker. And we have done a better job than any nation in the world cleaning up our messes in terms of our pollution and so forth. And to tell people that the primary fuel and engine of prosperity is a culprit in destroying the planet is near criminal. But it continues apace. And so these kids grow up, and then they go to college, and they get degrees in PR or marketing, advertising, and then they get hired. And then you get a story like this. This is from the businessinsider.com. It's out of London. M&Ms are going to promote wind power in new TV ad campaign. Chocolate brand M&Ms will promote wind power in a global advertising campaign set to run later this year and into 2018. Now, hang on. Chocolate and pet food giant Mars Incorporated, they own M&Ms, announced a $1 billion, wait for it, here's the word, sustainability. That's how you own millennials. Tell them it's sustainable and they'll support it. Tell them it's not sustainable and they'll oppose it. Whatever it is. Sustainable sex, they love it. Sustainable energy, they love it. Sustainable sewage, it's even great. Unsustainable doesn't work. So it's in every story that is appealing to and attempting to capture millennials. A $1 billion sustainability drive aiming to do its bit to tackle climate change. So here's a bunch of what's happened here. A bunch of indoctrinated millennials now working at an advertising agency somewhere and maybe at Mars have grown up and they've been taught this stuff, and now they're implementing it into their day-to-day work. And we wonder why more conservative messages can't break through the conservative message of self-reliance and rugged individualism and be the best you can be. The old standby recipe for success that's laughed at and mocked now. Sustainability is the dog whistle. When you see the word sustainability, understand that it is, here I go with the cliche again, but it's liberalism behind it. And liberalism is not good, folks. As part of the plan, Mars M&M's brand will champion the power of renewable energy and highlight the need for action in addressing climate change. Why are they doing this? Well, among other things, they believe that a majority of Americans believe that climate change is real and caused by man, and they believe that America is destroying the climate. So they want to sell M&Ms. They think the way to do it is to really, they don't know that a minority of people believe that most people think it's caca. But the young millennials and others in these positions, the advertising agencies, the marketing departments convince the people otherwise, and they might do market research, and you can get whatever you want with a market research survey, depending on who you talk to. Wind energy, renewable wind energy. There's no such thing as renewable, number one, and the real definition of the word. But renewable wind energy. Why is over half the state of Florida without electricity after more wind than they've ever seen in 5 years went through the state in a day and a half? If wind energy is the answer, why wasn't it harnessed? There's a lot of wind up there. And look what that wind did. It destroyed windmills. It destroyed everything in its path in certain places. But, I mean, that is one of the first observations that I came up with. If all of this wind, why wasn't it harnessed? Why weren't they able to lasso that wind and put it somewhere? Because if wind can create energy to the where we don't need fossil fuels, how much energy did we just waste by not capturing? Why wasn't the hurricane welcomed? That's wind. Now, I'm being a little facetious, don't misunderstand. But I'm doing so to make a point. Mars, by the way, M&M Mars plans to launch the campaign during a UN General Assembly in New York later this month. This is how deeply enmeshed this issue has become. It's now thought by major corporations to be key and fundamental in selling candy, because it's believed that the buyers will appreciate Mars's social justice concerns. and climate concerns and their sustainability drive. And therefore, we should go out and buy M&Ms to thank Mars for doing everything they can to save the planet and save the environment with renewable wind energy. You can't point to me a single place on Earth of any size with a significant population that single-handedly can survive on wind. You cannot fly an airplane with wind. You cannot power cruise ships or cargo ships. You cannot. It doesn't exist. You cannot get an airplane off the ground with wind energy. What about propellers? No, propellers don't count, folks. That's an engine in there that's turning the propellers, not the wind. So, and it's the same thing with solar. By the way, how many solar panels were blown off roofs in the hurricane? Where are those solar panels now? How much damage did they? You know what? Those things become garbage. You have an environmental problem all by itself. No, folks, I'm not trying to sound cruel here. I'm just, this is what not going along with groupthink sounds like. This is what not following consensus sounds like. This is what, I'm the mayor of Realville, and in Realville, common sense rules. And what happens when these people get into positions? What happens when one becomes a 4-star general in the Army thinking this way? And it will happen. It's unavoidable. It will happen. It's affecting everything. It'll affect discipline. It'll affect, look at the things that are already being done military-wise to further the cause of social justice and so forth. So you've been warned, just giving you a little tidbit. Here's another one. Is this the story? Let me have my glasses on here. No, but there's a story here about this. Yes. Let me see, what time is it? You have time for one more. This is from the UK Telegraph. I'll give you the headline. We'll talk about it later. We'll come back, get some phone calls. Inspirational robots to begin replacing teachers within 10 years. Now, will the robot tell you what its sexual orientation is? Will the robot tell you what its sexual preference is? And don't we already have essentially a bunch of robots teaching? Not all, but it is kind of robotic and similar and so forth. So there's that. Quick timeout. Much more, plus your phone calls coming right up after this. Don't go away. Check the email during the break. Hey, Rush, you haven't talked anything about the iPhone presentation. So what iPhone presentation? I told you, folks, that's not going to distract me. I'm a highly trained broadcast specialist focused on it. That stuff's going to be around after the program. Just tell me the date that it goes on. I want to see if it matches up with the rumors. Hey, I want to ask you a quick question here, since I already asked you the question. I'll come up with the question in a minute. Let me grab David in Knoxville, Tennessee. Welcome, sir. Great to have you on the program. How are you doing?
Hi, Rush. How you doing?
Very well, sir.
I was wondering, M&M Mars, if they're so concerned about saving the environment, why do they spend $20 to $30 million a year to sponsor a gas-guzzling race car in the NASCAR series?
You know, that's a great question. I didn't even know they did that.
The number 18 owned by Coach Joe Gibbs, the number 18 driven by Kyle Busch.
No kidding. M&M's Mars is sponsoring one of those behemoths?
Oh, yeah, 4 miles to the gallon, 800 horsepower.
You know how this works? I'll tell you what, that's a great point. The way this works is this other campaign is designed to balance that and let them get away with doing both. Yes, we are sponsoring NASCAR. Yes, we are sponsoring. But that's for the development of certain kind of engine. We're learning a lot. But over here, look what we're doing. We are developing wind energy, sustainability, and so forth. With the audience they're shooting at, they'll make it work. They'll find a way to rationalize it. But it is a great point. And you know what? It's not entirely out of the question that people could eventually shame them into dropping their NASCAR sponsorship. I mean, it's a long shot. I'm not predicting it, but shaming of violators of political correctness is alive and well. And if corporations are very much aware of it and are defensive about it and engage in corporate practices designed to